This is about the elevator acceptance. John, y'all come on in.
Not a whole lot in here, but just so you're kind of familiar with what's actually in here. This is obviously the control system. Behind it is the pumping unit, which houses the motor, the pump, the valve, those type of things to make the elevator work. Just a couple things to point out in here. All of our controls have onboard diagnostics. So you'll see it's running either the number of runs, which is 1,063, and then also it'll get faults. So, right now, after it shows the number of runs, it's saying 1 IDL. It's on the first floor, it's idle. So this is really for our technicians to be able to troubleshoot. But if the elevator's ever shut down, you come in here and you see the fault, you might just want to make note of it. That might help out. And then the only other thing here is this box here is something we call REM, or remote elevator monitoring. So right now on these hydraulic elevators, it's monitoring about 250 different faults. The most important of oil level, oil temperature, if door locks are making it or not. So if it senses something that's a little bit out of whack, it's going to send a message to the mechanic and tell him, hey, over here at the church, the oil level might be low. It's not shutting the elevator down or anything, but it gives him the opportunity to get out here and address the situation before it shuts the elevator down.
So automatically such a message would go from this unit to...
That's right. So it works off a phone line.
I see.
And it's
Okay.
connected to a server at our corporate office, and we've got engineers that are monitoring the different
Gotcha.
faults. So if it senses something, a discrepancy, then they'll shoot a text or something to the mechanic and say,
Yep.
hey, second floor door lock needs adjustment. It's still working, it hasn't shut the elevator down, so you can come in here, go straight to the door lock, make an adjustment. So it'll save you downtime, so.
How far are we away from the mechanic?
Close. He runs a route that encompasses Athens. We've probably got, 40-something elevators on service in town, so he's, during the day, a regular time, he's probably an hour, maybe away at the most. If it's an entrapment, an emergency, he's obviously going to drop what he's doing and rush right out here. But he runs a route with a bunch of different, we've got some at the hospital, hotels, different things like that.
Did that identify when it shut itself down last week or this week? This week?
I can look
It
and
was,
see if it did.
it was last week, I believe.
Okay.
Last
Yeah, I can look
Tuesday.
and see if it
No,
did or
no,
not,
I'm just
yeah.
curious.
Sometimes on just a shutdown like that, it may not catch it. It's trying to catch more proactive things like that. But it does give him the ability to dial back in here and to see what the faults were leading up to a shutdown. So just to give him some extra information.
They did come in fairly quick that day, and about 1:30.
Yeah, I mean, it was,
You do serve university and some hospital
Yeah, so
elevators. I
Athens
believe,
Regional, we've
so.
got elevators over there.
Should our procedure be, though, that if something like happened the other day, it's not working,
Right.
we're not waiting on these to let them know? We call and let them know also?
I think I would call,
Yeah.
like I did last time.
Yeah.
I would call the office, there's a number,
Yeah.
and they would schedule a mechanic to come out here and check it out
Okay.
and get it going. We do not want to mess with any of that.
Okay.
He's showing us the
Yeah.
contents,
Yeah,
but nobody's
you don't want to
touching
touch it,
it.
but just so you understand what you do have in here
Yeah.
and what's working behind the scenes, kind of.
Wonderful.
This room shuts by itself automatically. This
Yes.
door locks.
Good.
Without a key, you cannot get in.
Good.
So just to be aware of that.
Super.
would you write the service number? Sure.
Is it right there?
That's our main office number.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can write it.
That's a good idea.
So that's the contact number, Andy, that you would call. For example, someone said,
I
Andy's...
ask you for an ID,
Yep.
and the ID number is TAT, like Tom, Apple Tom, 251351.
And I'm gonna leave you with that binder, and it's got all that information in there too.
We can leave it in here,
Yeah.
actually.
Super.
So that's about it for here, pretty basic. I mean,
Good.
just kind of a self-contained unit there.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Very good. I got the door.
Jason, we haven't talked yet. I know we have to have a maintenance program. I know the date on that permit is 11/11, I believe. I'm looking and see. So we will have to make sure all that is recertified and reissued.
Right, the way that works, the state, separate from us, does typically 2 inspections a year, sometimes only 1, they get backed up. So that little card in there is actually his responsibility. So he'll come in, make sure the elevator, from a code and safety perspective, is compliant. If he sees anything, he's gonna write up a report, he's gonna give it to you guys. If there's anything on it, you'll get it to us. And if it's our responsibility, we'll fix it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, you're right. They do want to see a maintenance program in place. They want to see maintenance records, proof of maintenance, and they want to see that the annual test has been done every year. And that's part of the maintenance program. So when they turned this elevator over, they did the annual test then, it's good for a whole year.
Okay, so, but his card, I believe it says just
Right.
11/1.
So-
Whatever they put on the
I'm trying to think.
placard.
We turned this elevator, 1st of June, the final?
I want to say that, yeah.
So that's usually weird. Usually he'll do 6 months later. But we can look in there.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that's not elapsing, whatever one you do,
Right.
to make sure that's renewed.
Yeah, he's got 11/11, so he's,
11/11, that's.
which is weird. Usually they'll come 6 months later. So maybe he meant 12/11. But either way, so that's really his responsibility. If it gets to be the first of the year and he hasn't come, then we might want to call him and say, hey, we're out of date.
As far as the maintenance record, I mean, is that something we keep in this room, or?
The code really says it just needs to be on site. So what we do is we have something we call e-service. It's basically an online platform where we keep all the maintenance records, procedures, all that. And I'll set up whoever needs to be set up on it.
Okay.
So how it works is our guys have PDAs, and when they come to a job, they log in where they're at. And then he gets his procedures spit out to them that way. And when he closes the procedures out, it all filters through the system and gives you guys access to it. So it's basically, it's us opening our books to you to say, here's what we did, here's who did it, here's when they did it. And then you just print those out on a monthly basis, and then when the inspector comes, he'll say, can I see your maintenance records? And then you've got them.
So we need a procedure set up then that says someone needs to print those out on a monthly basis?
What I'll do is I'll set you up, we can actually set it up automatically, so it just emails to the person. So they'll get the email, they don't even have to think about it, they can just print it right then.
Yep.
And they need to put it in a file.
That's right.
And that file is, that
Has to
inspector
be
can
here.
ask for that.
It can either be, some people keep it in there, some people might keep it in the main office, whoever,
Yeah.
however you guys want to do it best.
I would suggest the contact would be, you send it to the church.
Okay.
Email address will give you, which means it'll go to the pastor, his administrative assistant, it'll go to the youth pastor, it'll go to everybody on staff at the church. And then the administrative assistant can print it out from that,
Okay.
and y'all can decide whether it goes here or she puts it in a file over there,
Great.
It
whichever
just
way.
have to be available for
Yeah.
the
Yes.
state inspector.
Yes,
And too, because when the technician comes, he's going to go to the main office and check in and
that's
say,
right.
hey, I'm here.
Yeah, the building's
working.
locked, you can't get in, yep.
But some people may,
Sure.
who want to know that he's here may not be there when he's here, so at least
Right.
they'll get notification that, hey,
Yes.
he indeed was here today, and here's what he did.
Yes.
I personally think it'd be better for Kathy to have it, so she will always know where it is.
Well, there could be more than one person.
Yes.
but It can go
Yeah.
to her.
Yeah,
I think
and
it's better to have more than one person.
If it's a one-page
If it's over
printout,
here-
she could put it in the file and a copy go in here
I
too,
don't know whether people-
however you want to do it. But I agree with you, she's the person that would be here 99% of the time,
Okay.
available, and have file system where to put it,
Okay.
so you can retrieve it. 6 months from now, she's the one who can find it for us.
Yeah,
that's right.
If you ask me,
Right.
I wouldn't be able to.
A bunch of stuff's happened
Sure.
since then.
Jason, the question, is this the state inspector? Is that automatic? He does that automatically? We don't have to call or schedule anything?
You shouldn't have to. Sometimes if you get antsy and it's past 11:11, then you call him and he'll jump back. He'll probably put you at the top of the list. But sometimes they just get backed up and he's got so many elevators to look at, he gets behind. But yeah, he's just going to show up randomly. He's probably not going to call ahead of time or anything.
Just gonna show up and do that?
Yeah.
I will put on the church calendar then, 11/11 date to check, see if they've been here. If it hadn't, we need to contact.
Yeah.
And I don't know who we need to contact. Okay,
The number's
good.
on there.
I understand.
State of
I'll
Georgia's
put that on our
Department of Labor.
calendar, so it'll show up.
Yeah.
Okay, Kathy would see it,
That's good.
everybody in the church, anybody could see it.
Sure. Couple things, obviously, pretty simple here. We've just got our call button. The other main thing here is fire recall.
Okay.
So how this works is there's 2 phases of it. There's phase 1, which is right here in the hallway, and then there's phase 2, which is in the elevator itself. We can go over that in a second. And this is just a fire recall operation. We've got a smoke head there, one in the hoistway and one in that machine room. So if any of those go off, the elevator will go in fire service mode. And phase one is the car coming down to the bottom floor, opening up, and it's gonna buzz and sit there, and this little light's gonna flash. So it's initiated by the smoke heads or this key switch. So the likelihood of it being initiated by the key switch is not very much, because no one's just gonna come here and turn it. But if you wanna reset the fire service, I gave mine away. Where's that fire key box? There it is.
And I have keys for the elevator. I'll turn them in with the warranty and the book up. To whoever be in charge.
Kathy. I think Kathy's
We can
going to
get you extra sets of keys if you want any. So now it's in fire recall mode. So it's just gonna sit here like this and for all day long, like this. And that's basically for the fire personnel. If they've got an emergency, there's a fire on the second floor, they can get in and they can initiate phase two, which is inside the elevator, which basically just lets them run the elevator and no issues. But then you just go to reset and then back to off, and it goes back into normal mode.
Okay. So when you do this fire recall here, it recalls to floor one,
Yeah.
main floor. I got you.
Or if there were an emergency on this floor, it's
Yep.
gonna go to two.
Gotcha.
And sit and go there. So
If they'll know from these sensors.
Yes,
what to
I
send
understand.
it.
It'll know where to send it.
That's right.
Gotcha.
Okay, so let's say there was a fault. I mean, it's like a false alarm.
Yeah.
Somehow it got triggered.
Yeah.
So just come here and reset it.
Yeah, so it'll be on, you'll just need to go to reset and then back to off.
Gotcha.
And sometimes that happens in new buildings, you might
Sure.
just have something
Sure.
that triggers the system. And
Sure.
so to save you from us coming out here,
Right.
if somebody wanted to just reset, and say, if you forget or someone forgets, they make a service call on it, the technician will probably call you back and say, hey, does it seem like it's in fire service mode? You'll say, yeah, and he'll say, grab the key, turn it to reset, back to off, so.
Gotcha. That's something important. I need to make sure that Kathy and Randy know what he just said. 'Cause that can happen.
Step in here, just take a look at a couple of things. This is the phase two portion I was talking about. So they'll take that key and open this up, and then now they have control of the elevator. So really no need for anyone public to know about it, but just so you're aware of kind of what's behind here. As far as key switches, access, this is more for our guys, but there's a key switch in the hoistway here, this floor, the top floor, and he's got to make this enabled, and then let's say he wants to work on top of the elevator, do maintenance, he can go to the top floor and he can bring the elevator right down to the level that he wants it at.
see.
Whereas in the past, we didn't have these, and he'd just have to guess and pop the door open and hope it's where he wanted it, so.
Let's see.
Good improvement.
Yeah. Light and fan, pretty straightforward. They're both keyed on right now. And then independent service, if you didn't want anyone just to be able to come up and hit that button, you could put it on independent. Let's say you were moving stuff in and out, and you wanted just complete control of the elevator just for you.
Yep.
And basically what it does is it cancels the hall buttons from being able to be used.
Gotcha.
So you just need to make sure you put it back into group when you're done using that, so that,
See, right now it's on group.
Group, yeah, I got
Put
you.
it on independent.
Yes.
And then you are controlling,
Yeah. So-
the door will stay open, I think, until you push it.
right, so you've actually got to hold the button. Right now, if we want to go up, we hit 2, we go right up. In this case, you'd have to hit 2 and then hold door close until the door actually closes.
I see.
So the only time you probably really need that is, like I said, moving in or out, wanting to move some furniture. Obviously, the button's
Could
here.
have used that the other day.
Right.
Yeah, that way nobody's calling the elevator while you run something down the hallway.
I ran into something this morning. Now, I had gone up and was doing stuff upstairs. And then whenever I get back to the elevator, it had gone down. And I don't know if anybody had come here, and mashed the button,
Right.
but I had to recall it back up to the second floor of it.
How long do you think it was?
5 minutes.
Okay. It might be programmed to come back and park on the lobby after a certain amount of time.
Okay.
That's
So-
what it is. It just comes back down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Door open and door close. Obviously your alarm button here, and then the run stop key switch. If you ever just want to shut the elevator down and have it sit here so nobody can use it, you're going to turn it back to stop, and it'll just sit there.
But if you're inside and turn it to stop, the door still operates?
That's right.
Okay.
And then down here, you get your phone button, and then this is the hands, we call it a hands-free phone. That way, hearing or visually impaired can both use the phone, because the light's going to blink if somebody's hearing impaired. Then obviously the speaker here, if somebody was visually impaired, they can communicate and hear the person on there.
When you say phone button, you push that, the phone turns on?
Right, and it calls our Otis line.
Okay, and we hear something?
That's right.
Can we speak to people through?
That's right.
Okay, all right, I got you.
So you hit
Hands-free phone.
You hit that button, it calls our Otis line.
Gotcha.
It's just in case of entrapment.
That's right.
Yeah, understand.
It's the same number. Well, if somebody calls from here and it's an emergency number, it goes straight through to a rep, a call representative.
24 hours a day.
That's right. 7 days a week, all the time. It's our own call center. It's not like an answering service where there's other,
I got you. Not
security vendors using it. It's just Otis. We own it. We manage it. They're trained to deal with people that are stuck in elevators.
And it's not in India. It's.
No, it's actually in Connecticut. So,
I'm teasing.
yeah, but right.
Is that lit up right now, or is it just a?
No, it's just red.
It's just trying to kind of set it apart from the other one. So if somebody's like, "Hey, wait a minute."
They don't push the button,
The good thing
Push
about
that right now and call Connecticut.
that's right.
Wow.
Can we test it?
Sure.
The light comes on.
I better call Connecticut.
Gotta call somebody.
What is originally speaking? Do you need assistance?
No, we're just testing the elevator phone.
Okay, 1 minute, please.
She's going to confirm where we're at.
Good.
Okay, the only elevator at the Watkinsville, 1331 New Pineville.
Yep.
Okay?
Great. Thank you.
Nice.
If you'd like to make a call, please hang up and try again.
So here's the deal with that. If somebody was trapped in here, they'll stay on the phone with them if they want, or they'll patch them through to their wife, husband, whoever they want.
Yes.
So they're trained to deal with people who are maybe a little bit upset or agitated there in here. So
Yeah.
they're trained to deal with all kinds of situations. So that's that.
But I'm not, help me understand one thing, the question. When we finished talking to Connecticut, and she confirmed who we were and where we were, and she hung up. But then, was that a dial tone that came on?
Yeah,
then?
she connects you to the person where they have.
You would tell her that?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So we
she'll
would have
say-
told her, and she would have called
She'll say, "Do
somebody.
you want me to stay on the phone with you?" But since I just told her we're just checking
Sure,
the phone,
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. So we would say, yes, it's an emergency. I want you to call the sheriff's office, and the phone number is such and such, and she'd call it.
Or-
Is that what you're
Or
saying?
she could just.
most
tell her.
likely what she's gonna, let's say someone really is stuck in here, she's
Yes.
gonna have you go through a couple things. And once you hit door open, hit one, hit two, maybe it's
Okay.
really not stuck
Okay.
or
All right.
something. Then from there, if we are stuck, she's gonna dispatch the mechanic first.
Okay, all right.
Because he's gonna be here pretty quick.
Because, they're not having a problem, they're just stuck.
Now, if
Yes.
it's-
So they'll try to come get you first.
Now, if it's a medical emergency, yeah, she's gonna
That's
call
different. They gotta go.
the fire department.
Okay, so we wouldn't be talking to somebody else. She would make a call for it.
That's
Yeah,
right.
she's asking you questions. and
Yes, I hear you.
Yeah, she can communicate with a lot of different people at one time. And
Yeah. So our people, our youth, our older people couldn't come here and push that and try to call somebody. That's not really what.
No.
there's No,
No,
okay.
this is
That's one,
dedicated.
I understand.
Exactly.
I want to make sure everybody else
I mean, they hit that button,
Especially
it goes
the,
straight to that.
Yeah, let's say
especially the 12-year-olds.
if somebody does come in here, hits that button, and then runs out of here,
Yeah.
it's still going to call us, right? So she's going to go, okay, nobody's there. Maybe it's a false call.
Yeah.
She's going to call back into the elevator a couple minutes later and see
Sure.
if somebody's there or
Yeah,
not.
I
And then-
understand.
Or she's
Sure.
going to call the front office then here because the
Gotcha.
numbers, we need to get the numbers
They do
programmed in there.
Gotcha.
And say, hey, do you want to go check the elevator and see if it truly is stuck and somebody's in there, or somebody just horsing around or whatever maybe.
Gotcha. Good.
So,
Now, that light doesn't go off?
yeah, eventually it's going to go off. So,
Oh, sorry. Good.
I think that's about it here, unless you guys have any other questions.
I guess the question I would have is, are y'all gonna send a maintenance kind of proposal or get a cost, whatever,
Yep.
to the church?
That's right.
And I guess, what do you need to receive it? You
Yep.
send it to the main office?
Yes, or I was funneling it through the administrative assistant's office
Okay.
to the trustees. I would send everything to the
Yeah.
church office.
My preference would probably be to get it together and bring it out and sit down, because just to go over it so everybody understands
Sure.
what's involved in it, what's included,
That'd be wonderful.
all that things.
Okay.
Yeah.
So real quick in this book, this is contacts and coverage. So right here is that phone number for the Otis line we just talked about. That's the same number I wrote down there. You call it, they want that building ID. And then this thing that just kind of gives you some highlights about Otis line, a couple things I talked about. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Gives you the average wait time. Let's say you call the number right now, average wait time is 9 seconds. And this is our local information. So our main office is in Atlanta. Mike Ganaway is your technician. Like I said, he runs a route out this way though. So most days, he doesn't go to the office, he just starts hitting his buildings.
Sure.
So he's out doing his preventative maintenance, and
That kind of
then
heavy guy. Thick.
someone else might have come and got it then.
There's been a guy been out here twice.
Okay,
One day the elevator called him,
okay.
and he showed up, and I've got,
What are you doing here? Yeah.
yeah.
Could have been Mike, yeah, he's a little bit heavier set guy. So his number's in there, and then he's got a maintenance supervisor, Andy Walker. His cell phone number is in there, and then me right here, my cell phone. Between the three of us, if you need something, we can get it done. A couple things to check on service. So let's say you come over here, elevator shut down. You might just want to look real quick and see if anything's maybe in the door track. You might be able to pull it. There might be a screw in there or something. You pull it out, the elevator goes right back to running. There's a door sensor on there. It's got infrared lights that go the whole length of it. That's, so if something's in the way of the door, it retracts. Sometimes that might get a little dirty. You just give it a quick wipe down, the elevator might go right back to running. Making sure the key switches are where they need to be. If you look in there and see, hey, wait a minute, the run stops switch is turned to stop, then if you just turn it back to run, just simple stuff like that might save you some time. Of course, we don't mind coming out to look at this stuff, but just if it's Sunday and you need the elevator or whatever's going on, you might be able to save yourself some time. Okay. So this walks you through step by step on how to place a service call. But it's pretty simple. You call a number, even if you don't, let's say you're away from the building, you don't have the building ID, but you tell them Watkinsville, First United Methodist, it's going to pop right up on their screen. So.
Doesn't help to have the ID.
Yeah, it helps for sure.
Sure.
But-
Speeds it up.
Okay, so we call it new installation service, which is basically the warranty service. So all the parts and components are warranted for a year for manufacturer's defects, those type of things. The elevator, as far as a warranty service period where we come out and do PMs and those type of things, there's a 3-month period for that, which started at the beginning of June. Technically runs out in September. But we can kind of play with the dates a little bit once I sit down with whoever I need to about the contract going forward. But basically what that includes is he's going to come do his preventative maintenance on a monthly basis. He'll just show up, he'll do it. If he sees components that need to be changed out, he does that. And then if we have a failure of a part, then that's included. Whether it's minor or major or whatever, you'd be surprised on, you might lose a component and, that's covered under your agreement, so. And just a brief overview on the way we do maintenance is the elevator has a counter on it. So when he comes in here, he puts in the number of runs the elevator's taken, and that kicks his procedures out to it. So we kind of modeled our maintenance program after jet engines. So we're proactively changing out components as opposed to reactively. So we don't want to
Wait till it fails.
Right, we want to try to change it out. And over years over years of research and development, they found, okay, after this many runs, these components need to be changed out, so he'll change them out before they break down. That's the idea there, and it seems to work pretty good. I think our callback ratio right now is just about a little over 2 per elevator per year. And that includes little elevators like this who rarely have calls, and that includes high-rise in Atlanta where we've got, 50-story buildings where they get lots of calls. So that's just the adders, though.
So, yes, I understand there's 3 months there
Right,
in the original agreement.
that's right.
And then after that, this proposal that Dave is talking about will come to us and we will look at that.
That's
and
right.
decide whether or not we're going to enter into a proposal agreement.
That's right.
For maintenance, right.
But John, it's covered for a year from June 11th, whenever it was released, as far as the major you know, manufactured parts.
That's right.
You know,
Sure.
manufactured defects.
And like we were kind of talking about before, the state's perspective is that you have to have a maintenance program on the elevator just for
Yep.
a liability situation. So there's different levels of it. There's kind of an all-inclusive where we cover everything. Let's say we lose a control board for whatever reason, it just fails and it's $3,000 or $4,000. That's on our dime to replace. So there's various levels. So I can go over that with whoever I need to. And then here's a little bit of a refresher on just some of these key switches. So let's say you look in there and you forget, what was that access switch about again? You can go to and it'll give you a brief description of what it was.
Yes, I think maybe scanning that.
Yeah.
I agree.
and
And I can do that. I can do
Yeah, I
that
can email,
very,
yeah.
see, and even that, I can scan it, or if, I could scan that here and
Okay.
put it on our website,
However you want to do
for
it.
certain people could get access to it, not the world.
Okay.
And then we wouldn't have to worry about losing it.
Right.
you know.
Because the hard copy could
Yeah.
stay here or
I
in the
agree.
office, but that way if you have to reproduce it.
Yes, you got it.
Emergency procedures, this is that fireman's recall I was talking about, so it kind of just can give you a refresher on what was that again, how did it work, how do I reset it, that type of thing. The only other thing in here I'll mention, let's say somebody is stuck in the elevator, the best route is for us to come and get them off, the safest thing. Every facility is different. Some people feel comfortable using the door key and opening the door and trying to get somebody off. The only problem with that is once you pull that hoistway door open, now the liability is on you for something that's happened. So let's say the elevator's stuck between floors, you open the door, somebody comes out, gets hurt, now it's sort of like, whereas if you just let our guy get here, he's gonna probably have them off real quick.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of up to the facility. Our recommendation is that we get them off.
I hear you.
If it's a big time emergency, then the fire department can obviously come, they're trained to get people off as well. And that's about it. There's a section here for records and different things like that. Like I mentioned, I'll get you guys set up for the online platform. That way,
Super.
if you ever want to get in there and pull the reports, you can. I'll set somebody up so they're automatically emailed to them. Those type of things.
Probably an automatic email.
Yeah, that's the best way to go. 'Cause
Yeah.
that was one less thing to
If they
think
have
about.
it, they print it, you
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
then they can save it, you
Yeah.
know, kind of digitally, but they can
Yeah.
print up one for the file.
Yeah.
So if I'm on the second floor, I think this is the right word. If I'm on the second floor and I get in that elevator and I push the down button, or if I haven't pushed the down button and these fire alarms go off, it's gonna take me to the first floor.
That's right.
Depending on which floor the
Yeah.
alarm is starting.
Yeah.
So if the smoke is here, and the heat, sensor went off here, it's gonna take you up.
Yeah, you're going to stay at 2.
If it's starting on top, and that's getting the hoistway up there, it's gonna bring you down here to open the door.
And open the door.
That's right.
Okay.
So they tried that, they tested it actually with the state inspector.
Mhm. Yeah, they've got to. That's part of their testing.
They put smoke here, and they put smoke up there, and they put smoke in the,
Yep,
hoistway, and the elevator had to function just right.
that's right.
I'm amazed. I didn't think we were allowed smoke in the building.
Well, they get this stick, and it's full of smoke.
I'm teasing.
And they release it, I mean, right next to the sensor, so it does work.
How much of that should the young people that are upstairs be told?